Hey guys, IcyCat here. Today, File 2 in Operation Outbreak has been revealed on the Rainbow Six Leaks website. This wraps up the newest Easter egg scavenger hunt, which began last week, following the trail of clues to all the new information. First up, a big huge shout out to everybody that's been letting me know about the Easter egg scavenger hunt that Ubisoft started last week. I actually did want to cover this when it came out last week, but I've been battling the flu for the last 6 days, and I'm finally just well enough that I'm able to go back to work. But you can still hear it in my voice. So while I wasn't going to be able to do a video on it at the time, now that the second Easter egg file has been unlocked, we can talk about everything that went into it. So people noticed that after update 4.1 that came out last week, which was a relatively small iterative update, this didn't do a whole lot, a few minor bug fixes, but it did open up access to the servers, which gave a faster tick rate for all the console platforms that had already been on PC, but they felt like now was the appropriate time to unlock it for the console side of things too. So that opened up with update 4.1 last week. And another thing that people were noticing is that there was an interesting new screen when you went into the presidential plane. Here in the meeting room, you can see that this TV that normally did not have this on it now has this entirely new graphic present. This is a map of Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. And we can see here that this ties in very closely with the theme that we saw present in the first file unlock that was at that time, also referencing the same location. If you want to know more about the information that went into unlocking that, you can take a look at the older video I did on that, but this is an entirely new Easter egg hunt that they did. So now that everybody knew there was something going on in the airplane map, they went around scavenging all over the place to see what new clues they could find. And they started noticing these little cards that were scattered around that had like fragments of sentences on them. Some of them were in some pretty unusual places. And when you put them all together, it says, "Murder not, the gaggle, nor quarrel in the company of a colony or conspiracy." Now, of course, it's important to note that the capitalization is present on each of those main words. Observant people noticed that those words had something to do with the phrasing for collections of birds. For instance, a murder refers to a large flock of crows, gaggle to geese, quarrels to sparrows, companies to parrots, colonies to penguins, and conspiracies to ravens. So if you changed everything out, you would now get this: crow not the goose, nor sparrow in the parrot of a penguin or raven. If you take the first letter of each word in that phrase, then gives you this password. You can then take that over to the rainbow6leaks.org website. This is where the first file was originally unlocked. And there's now a prompt there for the second file to be unlocked with a different access code. So if you will then copy and paste this in there, you can go ahead and access that. I'm going to put this in the comments down below the video player, as well as having it on the screen in the video. And here's what we have. It reads, "The president's plane got attacked. It's been grounded. Tell me this isn't coincidence. Was the president trying to shut it down? Was he too close to the lies? Is this phase 2 of the Truth or Consequences operation? I'll tell you something, the timing is terrible. It may have cost us a factor within the inner circle who was helping us. He fired off some intel before the plane went dark, but what did he leave behind? We'll never know, but we'll have to move carefully. They're playing for keeps, so that means the stakes are high. Keep that data coming in, don't let them derail the train. I'll have more for you after we talk to some of our friends in the Russian hacking community." And this is written in the same kind of style as the file number 1 was given to us. But what really stands out to me is the ending of that paragraph. Don't let them derail the train. We'll have more after we talk to some of our friends in the Russian hacking community. Russian train. Where do we know a Russian train from in the game? Does that mean that the third file in the sequence may begin its Easter egg hunt in the Russian cafe map in the train museum? We won't know until the next Easter egg hunt goes live. However, the first one went live during the technical test server. The second one went live in the first update. So either the next technical test server session, which has yet to be announced, or the next monthly update, which will take place probably around mid-January when the mid-season reinforcements come in, is about the time we may want to look for that. And I'm thinking that there's a possibility that the Russian cafe map, specifically the train museum, may be the place that that first Easter egg hunt pokes its head. So let's take a look at the files that get unlocked here. The first one is this photo of a newspaper. We've got some headlines here and a photograph of some kind of violence going on in the background, with a post-it note saying, "People are dying. The army is making sure nothing gets out. What is happening?" Then we move on to our second image here, and this is really interesting. I'll go over why in a second. So what we have here is some kind of an infrared image. Looks like maybe off of some type of a UAV or something. I'm no expert in those, so I'm not 100% sure. But you can see these red circles on the spikes, and that in the red text there says spikes spreading all over town. So why is this interesting? Well, we were talking about how the outbreak sounds like a zombie thing. And the files that were given to us in the first setup did seem to reflect that. They were talking about bite wounds and parasitic infections and all of those kinds of things. But if we think back to the original source of the leaks that pointed to all of this in the first place, this goes back to that 4chan leak that accurately predicted everything that came in Operation White Noise and did talk about the new zombies mode. It specifically mentioned aliens and zombies, not just zombies. So what's the tie-in here? Well, these weird spikes that are popping up all over town, that's not something that you would think of just coming from a zombie kind of a thing. Zombies infect people. They don't really terraform anything or change the layout of the ground and the surrounding structures in any way. So could this possibly be some of the alien influence that was talking about? Could the zombie infection actually come from an extraterrestrial source? Or maybe the parasitic zombie virus acts one way in humans, and maybe a different way it will affect, trees or any other kind of plant life. And then we have another UAV image, and this one is looking down over a much larger area of surveillance, with lots of areas that are circled, and it says, investigate the black spots. Looking up just above the top of the crosshair, you can also see in red text it says hospital. Referencing again that 4chan leak that gave us all the information, it said one of the 3 maps that will be associated with this game mode was going to be a hospital. So this looks like this could be a tie-in to that. Then we get to this shredded document. I'm not going to read over this whole thing. You can go ahead and read over that for yourself. But this just sort of feeds into the propaganda that's going on with the government conspiracy, trying to hide things from the population, miscommunication across party lines as to what's going on and who knows what. We have highlighted text in areas that are circled saying things like something is not clear about this, and it's covering something big. The final image we have is a phone call transcript. And again, you can kind of go through this and check it out on your own. I'm not going to read it line by line. But again, it's feeding into the paranoia that they're trying to respond to a situation and they're handling it one way and it's evolving into something else. And they're not really sure exactly what's going on around them as they're responding to it. And things are changing and everybody's really uncertain about it. And there's this cover up. It's this whole paranoid conspiracy angle. So where do things go from here? Well, it's pretty clear that they're going to keep this going all the way up until Operation Chimera launches with the Outbreak mission that will come with that. For anybody that's under a rock and didn't know, Mission Outbreak is going to be a new PvE type mode that's going to be designed to be played cooperatively. It would be interesting to see, though, if the alien spin is part of this or not. Again, that 4chan leak seemed to say that it would be, and that could be one reason why the zombie outbreak is happening in the first place. Now, I gotta say, it's really cool that Ubisoft is using these mini Easter egg hunts. It gets the community super involved and hyped. When a new one of these drops, like, people just start going into the maps and dissecting them, going over every little bit and piece of, like, they're jumping their drones into the weirdest spots you could think of looking for clues. They're breaking everything, trying to figure out if there's anything hidden behind a wall or a box or anything like that. And if you look at the forums and the subreddit, the community is really coming together and they're just, like, encouraging each other and pooling all of their resources and clues together with thousands of contributors working to solve these puzzles. And this is just such a cool collaborative way to spread the information and generate some hype. Now, we don't know how many more of these files there will be. So far, there's been 2. And again, with the timing of the release, the first one came in the TTS just before Operation White Noise dropped. The next one came when the first update, 4.1, was then released. So if that pattern holds true, I'm going to stick by that assertion that I'm thinking that it's likely that the next technical test server phase or the next mid-season reinforcement update, which we'll be getting around mid-January, should kick off the 3rd file. That's a little bit of speculation on my part, but again, considering the first one came just before Operation White Noise hit, and the next one came at that first update, it seems like a trend we might see it follow. That will keep things evenly spaced, and if they do that in the next update after that, that will take us to mid-February, and then at the end of February is when we have the Rainbow Six Invitational. That will be the finals for the current season of Operation White Noise, after which then begins the next season, Operation Chimera. So I'm betting that we'll have at least 2 more of these files coming between now and then. Probably one sometime in January and another in February. But who knows, maybe there'll be even more than that. This is an entirely new viral marketing strategy that they're using to kind of convey this type of information, though. And I'm curious, what do you guys think about this? Do you think this is a neat way to interact with the community and the fans? Does this increase hype in a game mode that you might want to learn more about? Let me know down in the comments below or share with me over at IcyCat25 on either Facebook or Twitter. Now, if you haven't already, please do like and subscribe so you stay up to date on all the latest news and information for Rainbow Six Siege. And as always, thanks for watching.